Live from Darth Easy Studios in Eddyville, Kentucky. It's time for another episode of Darth Easy's Evolution of Survivor Strategy. Tonight, we're talking about Caramoan, the second Fans vs. Favorites. Is it as good as the first Fans vs. Favorites? Are the favorites actually favorites? And are the fans actually fans? And we get to talk about one of the most unpredictable post-merge episodes in probably Survivor history. Your host, Darth Easy. Hello, Easy Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Evolution of Survivor Strategy. I hope everybody's having a very good Thursday. I know I am so far. I mean, enjoying a little day off, watching a little Survivor, watching a movie, and watching a little movie. So yeah, let's talk about this season of Survivor. This is chapter 26 of the Evolution of Survivor Strategy. We're getting further and further along as we continue the evolution of Survivor, and we've gone from Borneo all the way to Caramoan, and there was a little Borneo tribute in the reunion show for some reason. Sure. So let's get right into it. So Caramoan, Fans vs. Favorites 2. So the first Fans vs. Favorites was season 16, I believe. And it was Micronesia. You had the Alliance. You had, players like Parvati, people like Aussie come back and play another season. Well, they decided to do Fans vs. Favorites, kind of do, like, the original Fans vs. Favorites was the greatest hits between post All-Stars till Survivor China. This season was the hits from, like, Survivor, most of the hits from Survivor Nicaragua all the way up to Survivor Philippines, and also you have Corinne in there because she played in Survivor Gabon, and then you also have Eric, who was in the original Fans vs. Favorites, and I thought it was cool bringing him back because you have a fan that now is a favorite, and it's cool to see people like him be able to get redemption. So the gameplay this season is very interesting to watch. Like the first vote, like it's always fun watching returning player seasons. Especially in Survivor, because unlike like in Big Brother, for instance, the Big Brother sometimes like this last. I always would say you bring back you bring back return players. Gameplay is going to be at a higher level regardless, and that's what happens this season. The first vote is a very good vote. They're talking about getting rid of Francesca again. They brought back Francesca, who was voted out first, and like Philip, he's like, she just really annoys me. And you're just like, what annoys Philip? I guess it's Francesca. And poor Francesca gets voted out first again. Sad ending to her story because she's like, I have the greatest, it's like, I have the most potential and I never got to prove it. So my Survivor aptitude is wasted. Like I said, for me, the pre-merge of this season is very boring. Like, the first vote, the favorites lose. And then the favorites go on a row. Philip restarts Self-RS and brings in people of a 6-person alliance of, you have Philip, you have Cochrane, you have Dawn, and then you also have players like Corinne, Malcolm, and, I'm forgetting one. That's odd. Can't remember who the 6th person of that alliance was. Oh, Andrea. And so they pretty much dominate the first half of the game, and then we see the fans. They're basically getting demolished, and then you see Eddie and Reynolds. And Reynolds, I think, is such a underrated Survivor player. I think he plays his heart out because he's always got his back against the wall, finds 2 idols without clues. Very impressive to do, very hard to do. So we get to the try swap up, and then we basically team up. We get Malcolm, who teams up with Eddie and Reynolds, and basically forms the 3 Amigos, which we will see in the post merge. So for me, the pre merge of Survivor this season was awful. It's not one of the pre-merges I remember the most. But what makes this season that really saves the season of Survivor is the post-merge. The post-merge, I think, is one of the most exciting, fun post-merges in Survivor history. Because one thing I always love watching is, I love unpredictability, I love blindsides, I love all of this, I love idols being played. And this season we get all of that. Like, at first you're like, okay, it's going to be Sherry, and then we're going to see Malcolm and Corinne, they're going to take control of the vote. But Corinne messes up. Corinne tells Dawn that she's getting ready to take control of this game, and Dawn's like, I'm not doing this again. Because remember, Survivor South Pacific, Dawn waited way too long, and Dawn didn't tell them about Cochran turning sides, and completely ended her game earlier than what it probably would have. And Dawn didn't do that this time. She told Cochran, and Cochran begins engineering a blind side on Corinne and takes out Corinne and completely changes the game. Then Malcolm is now on the bottom of the game, and they're all like, okay, Malcolm's going out next. But the fear, and really, the next vote, we see Andrea, she's kind of panicking because she has that little in with Eddie. And she's like, my name's getting tallied up. If Malcolm has an immunity idol, I'm going home. We don't have enough votes, so let's just get rid of Michael. And Malcolm probably wasn't going to play his idol. And he told Reynolds, who was getting ready to play the idol for himself, and said, hey, they're getting ready to vote for me. You can see in their eyes. Philip kind of gave it away. Vote for, give the idol to me, and we'll swing this. But Michael gets voted out. Then we get to the final 10. This is one of the most exciting moments. And Philip performs the one sin in Survivor you never want to do. And that is say, I'm in a really good spot. I think if I can make it to the final, if they're not fitter, I think I have a good chance of winning this game. And we get to the final 10. Malcolm finds that second immunity idol. Everyone knows he has an idol, but they don't know about his first idol. And I think it's one of the most genius moves in Survivor history. It would have been even more genius if he didn't have to play his idol. And the move is absolutely incredible. Because what he does is says, yeah, you see this idol right here? Oh yeah, Reynolds won the first immunity. And he goes to Eddie, he's like, here you go, Eddie. None of us three are going home. 3 Amigos, we're staying tonight. And you're just like, holy crap, and you're just seeing, like if this was in modern day Survivor, people would be standing up trying to figure out game moves. But then they just simply said, just because they have the idols doesn't mean they play it. It was Eric who came up with that, and Matt was like, dang it, why do you have to say that? So, the whole idea of it was to get them to turn on each other. And maybe we don't have to play both idols. Maybe we just have to play one. But Malcolm got a little scared, played both idols. Malcolm's second idol was not necessary. Because Eric turned his vote to vote out Philip. Philip gets taken out at Final 10. Now we have a very interesting game at the Final 9. The Final 9 is when it gets very, very interesting. Because at Final 9, okay, so we don't know who has the idols, but to cover our bases, we have to split the votes, which means all it takes is one vote. And you have the Survivor auction. Always love the Survivor auction. Malcolm pays $480 for the idol clue, and he does not buy the idol. Little sad moment for Malcolm, but even in his confessional, he said when he gets voted out, he says, even if I had the idol, I wouldn't have played it because I thought I had the votes. But all he needed was one vote. If he had gotten Sherry or Eric to turn, and that's just, Eric's not gone. Eric's kind of the floater. Eric plays the very floating Survivor game. He goes from one end to the other, goes from one side to the other, and he just says it's time to take out. And Malcolm goes home at Final 9. Then we get to Reynolds gets voted out Final 8. Then Andrea starts making these plays saying, I need to take out Brenda. She's such a huge physical threat. And Andrea realizes that Brenda's her biggest threat. But then Cochran realizes that Andrea's going to want to take Eddie to the finals because Eddie hasn't done anything all game. And Cochran reminds me of Cesarino when he played in Survivor Amazon. And I think Cochran has the best self-awareness of any other than like Cesternino did in Survivor Amazon, where you have to know where you are in the game. And he sees that relationship between Andrea and Eddie and says that she can control Eddie and that she's going to want to take him because that's a loyal vote. He wants to be a part of everybody's plan. If he's not part of your plan, I got to take you out. If you're making plans, I got to take you out. And that's when Cochran, you really makes, I think probably Cochran played this is one of the greatest Survivor games of all time. And Cochran, he wins 4 challenges. Cochran, who was a liability in South Pacific, that they wanted to vote out first, but he somehow makes a run this season and completely dominates the game physically a little bit, and then strategically, no one's a match for Cochran this season. Like, the way he plays this season is absolutely incredible. And then, we get to the final 6. Andrea goes home. They blindside Andrea with an idol in her pocket. She just laughs her way out the door. Then we get to the final 6. And Brenda's like, okay, we'll take out Eddie this time. Then we'll have to get rid of Cochran. And Cochran realizes what's going on. And it's just like what I said, self-awareness. So he gets Dawn saying Brenda's a big threat. She hasn't made anybody mad. Me and you, we've made people mad. We gotta take out Brenda. And Cochran's the one who makes the move. But Dawn gets all the flack. And that's what Cochran's brilliant strategy is. He has Dawn as the perfect scapegoat. And that's what makes this season, that's what makes Cochran's gameplay this season so great. At Final 5, Eric gets medically evac. Because he was like starving, he had no food, had no energy, he was blacking out. And Eric went on Auroras, and it just shows how tough Survivor really, really is. Okay, so in Final 4, Cochran wins that final immunity, beats and takes out Eddie. Then we get to the Final 3. Dawn tries to own up to her game. She played a little sucking game, but Cochran had a great final tribal council. And Cochran completely dominated. He took a goat. He took somebody who got a lot of blame, and Cochran played a perfect game. There's only been one other person to play a perfect game, and that was JT back in Survivor Tokensheens. And we haven't seen a perfect game since Survivor. Well, we have actually, because I forgot about Tony. Tony actually did play a perfect game, but the fire making challenge bull crap is a whole other story for another day. So yeah, Cochran. I mean, from the little guy who got almost every vote, not voted for once this entire season, just an absolute incredible game, and just one of the most exciting post merges of Survivor. I love this season. Is easily rewatchable. I would probably turn it on again if I can. I would not watch the entire season again. I think I would start right after the pre-merge, after the merge starts, and then watch it throughout, because there is so many shocking moments you do not see coming. So yeah, this season Survivor, awesome, and just a great addition to the evolution of strategy. I'm looking forward to watching Blood vs. Water next. Like I said, there's some good seasons coming up. Alright guys, that ends this episode of the Evolution of Survivor Strategy. Guys, what are your thoughts of this episode? What are your thoughts of Survivor Caramoan? Where they are, comment below. Do you think we'll ever see another fans versus favorites? Because, fans versus favorites is very one-sided, because it's all on the favorites. The favorites have the advantage. And will we see a season with the fans win? Because I would love to see somebody like Reynolds come back to give him the Erica treatment. So this season, very enjoyable. I loved it. So guys, if you like this video, click that thumbs up, subscribe, see more, tell your friends about Evolution. And until next time, guys, all too easy.